Thursday morning, 10:30 a.m. Providence Municipal Court, 22-year-old. Victoria Romano enters Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom with the confidence of someone who believes she controls the entire judicial process. Her citizen Mayenne Hermes bag swings at her side with each step. Her Cartier diamond bracelet reflects the fluorescent lights as she waves dismissively at court staff. Her designer heels click across the marble floor with the ease of someone who has never been denied anything. But it isn't her luxury accessories that draw attention, it's her attitude. Victoria carries the arrogance of someone whose father sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee and whose family name has long functioned as a shield from consequences. Reluctantly following her is Thomas Whitman, an expensive defense attorney whose usual confidence appears shaken. He repeatedly checks his Rolex and whispers instructions that Victoria ignores. Why is this senator's daughter in Judge Caprio's courtroom today? Last Saturday night, Victoria was driving her father's government sedan through downtown Providence at 2 a.m. when she treated traffic lights as optional. After running 3 red lights while live streaming, she crashed into a parked police cruiser at 55 miles per hour in a 25 miles per hour zone. When officers Martinez and Johnson approached, Victoria offered no apology. Instead, she stepped out and delivered the line that sealed her situation. "Do you idiots know who my father is? You can't touch me. I'm Senator Romano's daughter." When Officer Martinez attempted to administer a breathalyzer test, Victoria laughed. "I don't submit to tests from people who work for my family. My father funds your paychecks." When informed she was under arrest, her response revealed her entitlement. "You can't arrest me. I have diplomatic immunity. My father will have your badges before morning." The entire encounter was captured on body camera footage that went viral. Victoria threatening officers, claiming immunity she doesn't have, and insisting her father makes her untouchable. Today, she stands before Judge Caprio, expecting her connections to erase this incident. What she doesn't know is that Judge Caprio has reviewed the footage and is prepared to deliver a lesson in accountability. As the hearing continues, this entitled senator's daughter will display such disrespect that she will be removed from the courtroom in handcuffs. When Victoria tells Judge Caprio he can't touch her because of her father's Senate position, she will learn that in American courts, justice does not bow to political influence. This is not just a court hearing. It is a demonstration of how privilege meets responsibility when arrogance confronts the rule of law. The bailiff announces, "The State of Rhode Island versus Victoria and Romano. Charges: driving under the influence, destruction of government property, resisting arrest, threatening law enforcement officers." Victoria walks to the defendant's table with the attitude of someone attending a gala in her honor. She ignores Judge Caprio, the staff, and her own attorney. Instead, she pulls out her phone and begins taking selfies. Judge Caprio looks up from his papers with calm patience. "Good morning, Ms. Romano." Victoria doesn't respond, still adjusting her phone for the perfect selfie. "Ms. Romano, I'm speaking to you." She looks up with irritation, as though she has been interrupted. "Oh, hi. Sorry, I was just documenting this whole circus for my followers. They find government incompetence entertaining." She gestures with her phone. "You don't mind if I live stream this, do you? My audience likes behind-the-scenes content." Judge Caprio's voice becomes firm. "Ms. Romano, you are in a court of law facing serious charges. Put your phone away and show proper respect." Victoria rolls her eyes and drops her phone into her purse with exaggerated reluctance. "Fine, but make this quick. I have a spa appointment at noon, and they don't reschedule for government's employees." Shock ripples through the courtroom at her remark. Judge Caprio reviews the police report. "Ms. Romano, according to officers Martinez and Johnson, you were driving under the influence when you crashed into a police cruiser at 55 miles per hour. Victoria's explanation shows her lack of accountability. "Your Honor, I was in tea drunk. I had maybe 2 cocktails at a charity event. I was completely in control when this unfortunate accident occurred. Ms. Romano, you refused to take a breathalyzer test. Victoria's response reveals her entitlement. Your Honor, I don't submit to roadside testing by local officers. My family has diplomatic status through my father's Senate position. Judge Caprio's voice sharpens. Ms. Romano, senators' family members don't have diplomatic immunity. Victoria looks genuinely surprised. Your Honor, that can't be right. My father sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee. He writes the laws. We absolutely have special status. Judge Caprio reads from the police report. Ms. Romano, when Officer Martinez attempted to arrest you, you said, "You can't touch me." I'm Senator Romano's daughter. Explain that statement. Victoria's answer reflects her misunderstanding of equal treatment. Your Honor, I was simply explaining the legal reality. Local police don't have jurisdiction over Senate families. It's not personal, it's just how the system works. You believe local police can't arrest senators' children? Victoria nods confidently. Absolutely, Your Honor. Federal officials and their families are protected from local harassment. It's called separation of powers. Judge Caprio's voice becomes even firmer. Ms. Romano, you threatened the officers' jobs because they were doing their job. Victoria waves a hand dismissively. Your Honor, I wasn't threatening anyone. I was educating them about government hierarchy. Sometimes local officers need reminders about the chain of command. The courtroom reacts to her arrogance. Judge Caprio continues. Ms. Romano, you told Officer Johnson, I have diplomatic immunity. Do you understand what diplomatic immunity means? Victoria's response shows her ignorance. Your Honor, diplomatic immunity means government officials and their families can't be arrested by people who rank below them. It's basic civics. Judge Caprio's tone turns instructive. Ms. Romano, diplomatic immunity applies only to accredited foreign diplomats. It has nothing to do with senators. Victoria looks confused and irritated. Your Honor, that doesn't sound right. My father has immunity from prosecution. That protection extends to family members. Judge Caprio examines the file. Ms. Romano, when you crashed into the police cruiser, what was your immediate concern? Victoria's answer shows her lack of empathy. Your Honor, my immediate concern was that this incident might be photographed or recorded and damage my social media presence. I work very hard to maintain my personal brand. You aren't concerned about injuries or property damage? Victoria shrugs. Your Honor, no one was hurt, and the car damage is covered by government insurance. These situations get resolved through the proper channels without involving local courts. Judge Caprio challenges her. Ms. Romano, you destroyed a police cruiser that serves the public safety of this community. Victoria's response shows her disconnect from public service. Your Honor, police departments have vehicle budgets for exactly these situations. They'll get a newer car out of this, so really, I help them upgrade their fleet. Then she makes her most damaging mistake. Your Honor, I appreciate that you have a job to do, but this case will be resolved through appropriate federal channels. My father's office is already handling this diplomatically. Judge Caprio's voice drops. Ms. Romano, explain what you mean by appropriate federal channels. Victoria leans forward confidently. Your Honor, Senator Romano's office has contacted the Department of Justice about this local overreach. Federal prosecutors will handle this matter if any charges are warranted, which they're not. Judge Caprio's expression hardens. Ms. Romano, are you telling this court that your father is intervening in your criminal case? Victoria nods, oblivious. Exactly, Your Honor. Local courts don't have jurisdiction over federal officials' families when they're traveling on government business. You were on government business at 2 a.m. on Saturday. Victoria offers another rationalization. Your Honor, I was returning from a charity event for underprivileged children. Representing my father at community events is part of my unofficial duties as a senator's daughter. Judge Caprio has heard enough. The moment that will dismantle Victoria's delusions is about to begin. Ms. Romano, you've just told this court that you believe senators' children are above local law, that police officers work for your family, and that your father is intervening to stop these proceedings. Victoria straightens with absolute confidence, convinced she has established her superiority. Judge Caprio's voice turns calm and devastating. Let me explain something about American law that you apparently missed in your political science classes. Victoria listens with the smugness of someone expecting confirmation. No one is above the law. Not senators, not their children, not anyone. Your father's position doesn't grant you immunity. Your family's wealth doesn't excuse criminal behavior. And your last name doesn't make you special. Victoria's confidence begins to falter. Ms. Romano, you drove drunk and destroyed public property. You threatened police officers for doing their jobs. You claimed immunity you don't possess and authority you don't have. His voice gains force. Most seriously, you've just admitted that your father is attempting to interfere with judicial proceedings. That is not only inappropriate, Teebs, potentially criminal. Victoria's face drains of color as she realizes what she has implied. Bailiff, contact the FBI's Public Integrity Section immediately. We have a potential case of federal obstruction of justice that requires immediate investigation. Victoria's eyes widen. Your Honor, wait. I didn't mean my father was actually interfering. I meant that his office explains things when there are misunderstandings. Judge Caprio cuts her off. Ms. Romano, you specifically stated that your father's office contacted the Department of Justice to handle this case. That is either true, which requires investigation, or it's false, which is perjury. Victoria begins to panic. Your Honor, I might have misspoken. I was just trying to explain how these situations usually get resolved. Usually suggests this isn't your first time using your father's position to avoid consequences. Judge Caprio turns to the prosecutor. Counselor, prepare additional charges for attempted obstruction of justice and making false statements to intimidate law enforcement. Victoria's attorney finally speaks. Your Honor, my client is young and counselor. Your client is 22 years old and just confessed to federal crimes in open court. Judge Caprio turns back to Victoria for driving under the influence and destroying government property. I sentence you to 90 days in county jail, a $5,000 fine, and a 2-year license suspension. Victoria barely processes the words for threatening law enforcement officers and claiming false immunity. An additional 30 days and a $2,000 fine. Her voice cracks. Your Honor, this is too harsh for a traffic incident, Ms. Romano. This is not a traffic incident. This is criminal behavior combined with abuse of political position. His tone becomes relentless. For attempting to obstruct justice through false claims of federal intervention, I'm holding you in contempt of court. Bailiff, take Ms. Romano into custody immediately. Victoria rises, stunned. Your Honor, you can't do this. I'm Senator Romano's daughter. You can't touch me. Those words, "you can't touch me," seal her fate. Judge Caprio's final response is cold and absolute. Ms. Romano, watch me. The bailiff steps forward with handcuffs. Victoria backs away, still convinced this can't be real. This is illegal. My father will have your job. You can't arrest me. Ms. Romano, you're under arrest for contempt of court. You have the right to remain silent. I suggest you use it. As the handcuffs close around her wrists, Victoria finally realizes that her family name will not protect her. I want to call my father. I want to call him right now. Judge Caprio's response is firm. Ms. Romano, after we investigate your claims about his involvement, your father may need his own attorney. Victoria is taken from the courtroom in handcuffs. screaming about immunity she doesn't have and connections that can't help her. Outside the courthouse, news crews record Senator Romano's daughter being escorted to a police transport vehicle in shackles. Within hours, Senator Anthony Romano holds a press conference condemning his daughter's behavior and confirming that his office never contacted the Department of Justice about her case. 3 months later, Victoria Romano sits in county jail, finally understanding that in America's courts, justice is blind even to senators' daughters who believe they can't be touched. Judge Caprio's ruling didn't just punish Victoria's actions, it proved that no one is above the law.